Wouldn't that be an interesting bit of casting, though? Cast his grandson as the updated Uncle Fester.
Why not?
Tim Burton's directing the show, and he was an animator on a Disney film I did a voice on. I played the fox in The Fox and the Hound. So it would be a reuniting of me and Tim Burton. I'd play Fester again, so we're trying to hashtag Coogan as Fester. I'm just kidding, but it would be great. It would be great to have a chance.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's a new Talking About Cars podcast where everybody has a car story. I'm Randy Cardoon, who happens to say thank heaven for H&I, Heroes and Icons TV. Although they air them at 3 a.m. Pacific on Sunday, the original TV run of the Green Hornet. You remember the Green Hornet? Van Williams, Bruce Lee, and of course the stunning, which I completely forgot about, but the stunning Wendy Wagner. Sadly, all of them no longer with us. Still, I've DVR'd to watch for the first time since I was 12. I have not seen the show since I was 12. I saw the movie.
Yeah, but the movie was
Yeah, it was okay. But this was Bruce freaking Lee. It's Kato.
Yeah.
Van Williams.
Yep.
And Wendy Wagner. Ooh la la. Remember?
I'm gonna have to look up Wendy Wagner. I don't even remember her.
She was the secretary of the character that Van Williams played, Britt Reed.
Right.
And let me say, sadly, again, as I said, she's no longer with us. Anyway, and that, of course, is Hot Rod Bob Beck.
Yes,
by the way, as I watched the Green Hornet and haven't seen it in billions of years, what was the TV show you grew up with that you haven't seen forever and would like to see again?
77 Sunset Strip.
Wait a minute. Was that also Van Williams? Hold on a second.
No. That was Ed Burns.
Yeah.
Zimbalist Jr.
Yeah.
The lucky guy that got to marry Anne Margaret.
Okay.
Roger Smith. And who else? Efren Zimbalist, Roger Smith, Cookie Burns, Ed Burns.
Who was on Surfside 6?
Who? Van Williams?
Van Williams.
Oh, okay.
I believe so. Yeah. Along with Troy Donahue.
Yeah.
Diane McBain, Lee Patterson. And, I guess Surfside 6 and 77 Sunset Strip were like competing shows. Because if I remember right, weren't they the same or kind of show?
They were, the same kind of show. One was based in Hawaii, one was in California, and they were on the same network. So occasionally the actors would go from one show to the other, depending on the case.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Okay. Well, all right. I pulled up Wendy Wagner.
Yes.
Yes. Wende.
Correct.
Okay. Married to James Mitchum.
For a while.
Yeah.
For a while, yeah. And
she passed away in 97 at a young age of 55.
Yeah, that's sad. Was it cancer or something?
I haven't gotten that far in her bio yet, but
the reason I'm bringing all this up.
Yes, why?
Randy is living through his childhood TV watching days. Is coming up on the show today.
Yes.
A child actor whose grandfather, people of a certain age, like us, remember from the original Addams Family. Remember John Astin?
Oh, yeah.
John Astin's dad, for those of you, and who's Sean Astin? That must mean you're like really young to be watching this show. But Sean Astin's dad, Carolyn Jones, she played Morticia, and Uncle Fester, Jackie Coogan.
Yeah, that's it.
We're talking to his grandson, also an actor, Adventures in Babysitting, all that. Keith Coogan joining us on the show. And he's got some interesting car stories.
He's one of those guys where I never really noticed. because he was a kid when he was acting.
The interesting thing I noticed is I recognized him as a child actor.
Yeah.
And when I saw what he looked like now, I didn't necessarily recognize him. But I mean, that happens. Kids grow up and kids look different. So that's kind of, so that'll be coming up again in a little bit here, including he got a chance to drive in an actual TV car. I won't say what till later, but TV car as an actor. So it wasn't just like at a car show he sat in it. He was acting, and he got to drive in it during a show.
Yep.
It's all of this. So let's move on to our guest, shall we?
Sounds good to me.
He's been patiently sitting by. He is a guy, of course, who child actor, started acting in McDonald's commercials at the age of 5. Yep. And he's also been in some interesting movies you may remember from the 80s. He's still acting to this day. He is the grandfather of Uncle Fester himself, Jackie Coogan. Ladies and gentlemen.
No, he's not the grandfather of Jackie Coogan.
What did I say? He's the grandfather? Edit this part out. He's the grandson of Uncle Fester, the original Addams Family, Uncle Fester. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we will snap our fingers. We'll do the clapper. That's right. The clapper. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Keith Coogan. Okay. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Keith Coogan, joining us here on the Talking About Cars podcast. Hot Rod Bob reported from an, looks like you're at your backyard, or at least your big place where you hide all your
garage. That's it. Yes, my storage area.
That's it. Storage area. Keith is showing us from his coming to us from his storage area, otherwise known as his memorabilia wall.
Oh.
The entire apartment is circled with 80s memorabilia and stuff. So,
really?
Yeah. Not my movies necessarily, but 80s, all good John Hughes movies. Weird Science, Pretty in Pink. Of course, Duran Duran, my wife's favorite band. And yeah. Oh,
what do you have from Weird Science?
Of Knight Rider. So of course I've got the Knight Rider plate. Oh yeah, it's fun doodads. We love pop culture, and so yeah, we got a lot of good stuff up there.
Like we were saying before, Keith is actually an interesting guy from a car standpoint, because he did something that many of us only dream about, Bob.
What's that?
He of course was the guy who actually drove in one of the Knight Rider cars during an episode that he was a part of.
Oh, even better.
He was actually acting in a Knight Rider car.
Really?
How impressive is that?
That is amazing.
All right, let's start with that. Keith, give us an idea, a little bit of the background of how you got into the Knight Rider car, and obviously you auditioned for the role, got it. Tell us how that experience went for you.
I had done 4 episodes of Chips, including the first season and the last episode ever aired. Different characters mostly, but one of the producers, I think, and the stunt coordinator, the vehicle coordinator, moved on to a certain Glenn A. Larson show called Knight Rider. Now I got this Knight Rider, and it hadn't aired yet. And I was on episode 3, A Good Day at White Rock, and where I believe Michael goes on vacation to go rock climbing and confronts a motorcycle gang. Fantastic.
Of course. Doesn't that always happen on TV?
They ran out of plot ideas on episode 3 of Knight Rider. That's what's really, that's like 4th season kind of crap. But anyway, so yes, the stunt coordinators, and I saw this on Chips. And remember, they would do huge wrecks up on the 210 and then move to, Hollywood and shoot some interiors or something. They do 2 big company moves a day on Chips. So they'd have to bang out a huge stunt sequence with dozens of cars. And in the director's trailer or the production trailer, they would have Hot Wheels and Matchbook cars. And they had a General Lee, because they also worked on Dukes of Hazzard. So they'd bring in a cop car or 2 from the General Lee set. They'd have, they'd mark out everything and how they're going to do it on the freeway. and flip this car or crash that car. And they just do it like clockwork, and then load all the cars up on a car carrier and move them halfway across town. So Knight Rider was, all they had to really worry about was one car, 9 copies of it. So fiberglass models that you could sail through the air that had nothing inside them. You had ones that had to be towed. You had ones that a driver is the seat. He would sit in the seat with the, with a kind of clear mesh and could look like nobody's operating the vehicle. And then they had interior cars and cars you could beat with rubber, crowbars and all the great special effects. And they murdered a car. They did a jump in the episode, and the way it lands, they cut right before it lands. And of course, it's like a perfect landing. But this thing didn't make it. And they go, oh, yeah, they completely wrecked it.
And that's the one you were driving.
No, you weren't driving, though, were you? You were too young to drive, right?
No, of course, it was Michael Knight, savior of the innocent.
I was going to say, so you were how old then?
12. I want to say 12 or 13. Mm-hmm. Just loving it. I'd read about Knight Rider in sci-fi magazines and stuff about, coming shows, and was thrilled to be on it. And got a Young Artist Award for it, kind of a mini version of the Oscars. And that, of course, I had done very important work with, Jenna Rollins and Jane Alexander, and worked with, Henry Fonda, and done movies of the week and after school spent Ray Bradbury, like Scholastic. And I win an award for my guest appearance on Knight Rider.
Sounds like an MTV thing, but that wasn't it.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, hey, that's showbiz, as they say. So you actually don't have to worry about stuff like that. So, and on that award day, if I'm not mistaken, your grandfather also won an award. Is that correct?
He did. He, that same year, was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award. And at that awards show, the Youth and Film Awards, they had a Jackie Coogan Award they would give to producers that developed children's entertainment or people that had a huge impact on children. So they'd been giving away an award in his name for a while, and then they honored him one year. It was the same year I won mine. I'm sure there's no accident or coincidence in that at all. So I'm very proud. He's been honored, and he's running around telling all the kids to watch their money. And I walk over with mine, and I'm just jubilant, and I go, look, Grandpa, we both got awards. Mine's just like yours. And he goes, no, they're not. They're different. You won yours, and I earned mine. So that was
okay. So your grandfather was Debbie Downer, basically, is what you're talking about. Okay, well,
he was jaded at 8. Yes. He was definitely.
And again, for those who don't remember, Jackie Coogan was Uncle Fester in the old Addams Family show. And so he used to do all that stuff, and
that's his comeback, because he started in 1921, co-starring in The Kid with Charlie Chaplin, and then grew up and married Betty Grable, lost his money to his parents, has a labor law named after him, entered the war, flew glider pilots over Burma, came back, played heavies, and did television, and then made this comeback with Addams Family. So I know we're kind of moved on from the generation that remembers or sat in a theater and watched him in The Kid. But that Uncle Fester Addams Family just continues today. Films, they're making a new series.
Oh, are they
I would love
making
to
yet
play
another
Uncle
one?
Fester.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be?
My grandfather was when he played Uncle Fester. He was 50 years old when he played Fester. So I'll shave.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Look
Shoot
at
him in the back.
I think that wouldn't that be an interesting bit of casting, though? Cast his grandson as the updated Uncle Fester.
Why not?
Tim Burton's directing the show, and he was an animator on a Disney film I did a voice on. I played the fox in The Fox and the Hound. So it would be a reuniting of me and Tim Burton. I'd play Fester again. So we're trying to hashtag Coogan as Fester. I'm just kidding, but it would be great. It would be great to have a chance to do that.
Wow. I'm sure your people has gotten a hold of his people. Go ahead, Bob.
Your agent is working on that for you, right?
My agent?
Your agent?
My agent
Yeah.
called?
No.
Oh,
That's right. Once again, that's how Hollywood works, ladies and gentlemen. His agent has to call, and then all sorts of wondrous things can happen.
mhm.
All sorts of wondrous things can happen. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting. And again, with all the things that you've gone through, you were in Adventures of Babysitting. You were Adventures. You were Don't Tell. What is it? Don't Tell Mom that the babysitter's dead, which means it sounds like you were pretty much the antithesis of any babysitter that ever wanted to come by and meet you. They just wanted to stay away because of all these shows you were on.
And I oddly never babysat anybody. I should do a babysitting service now. Trust me. Keep Coogan with your children.
I can see the commercial now. Of course, you had people babysitting you at one point, I'd imagine. I mean,
yes.
Not recently, but
yeah. Sure. Okay. My mom was very protective of me, so probably never left me with anybody. And then by the time I was, 10, 11, 12, I just was left alone and could do whatever I wanted home. And then, so yeah, the babysitter thing, I don't really, I was already had, earned a pension by the time I was like 12. So I didn't need a babysitter.
Yeah. Well, thanks to your grandfather, at least, he learned the hard way in a way. And then, of course, the whole industry changed things around. So, and with legal situations and all that. So, that you have a legacy.
In a few states, we'd love to see the protections, labor protections and money protections, which is only 15%. That's not a lot. And we're only asking to limit them to like 10-hour days. That's cool, right? And they still got to go to school. That's it. That's all the thing is. And don't murder the child on the set. Well, LA or California has the Coogan Act. It's a California labor law.
Oh.
New York has a similar bill, and Arizona, maybe New Mexico, some right to work states. And also some of those it's triggerable. So you have to actually make at least $5,000 before the Coogan protections kick in. So a kid that makes $4,500 on a job is not protected at all. And then there are another 45 states that currently don't have any specific protection for children working in the entertainment industry. And I know Atlanta has a lot of TV production and film production. Stranger Things was a show that shot in Atlanta. And I just want to make sure that Millie Bobby Brown gets her 15%.
Okay. Well, that's a smart way to go. And let's hope that happens.
Do you know the phone numbers for all the attorneys general in all the states? That would
be flashing these on our video version.
Is that maybe like a Twitter handle? No.
Hashtag Attorney General. Yeah.
Hashtag Attorney General. Yes. Call now. And after all, they have nothing going on in Georgia right now. So what the hey? Just go ahead.
That's quiet there. Yeah.
I've got this bill. Do you drink gin?
I think that's another bill, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's talk about how you learned to drive. What was the family driving when you were growing up? How did you kind of learn to drive?
Well, my family loved cars. My great grandfather, just ridiculous, a terrible driver, meaning the old definition of terrible, like, oh my God, aggressive and fast, and did die in a terrible car accident that killed everybody in the car. But my grandfather, he was, but they had a car dealership. So my grandfather, after making some success with the kid, had a car dealership on Santa Monica Boulevard, and it was a Rolls Royce dealership. They had a Duesenberg, Bentley, just you could see some photos online of the cars they sold. And then they had a collection of cars at it's mid-Wilshire. Their place was what is the parking lot of the Vons right behind the Wiltern Theater. And it was one of the first private homes in LA with a swimming pool. And of course it's now, underneath concrete. But so cars were always kind of a part, and but when I was growing up in the 70s, it was very modest. My grandfather had like a hatchback. And, you know, there were no, I think my dad had an El Camino, which I felt special there because there was like 2 or 3 of them in Malibu. Okay, Malibu. I did grow up in Malibu, the poor part of Malibu, but there were, you know, it's a community of like 12,000 people. So think small town. Everybody knows everybody's business. You see everybody at the market, that kind of a thing. There's one road, the Pacific Coast Highway. So you stand on one corner and the whole world passes you by. So cars, so the driving became a big deal because we were Malibu West, which is an hour from the studios, from Burbank Studios or NBC or Disney, Warner Brothers, an hour. And it's a good 45 minutes to get into Paramount. Maybe you could do, you know, MGM, what's now Sony Studios, or 20th Century Fox in like 35 minutes. But you needed a car that could make it over the canyons, Malibu Canyon, Canaan Canyon, Decker, you know, crazy driving. You spend a lot of time in the car in LA. It's kind of becomes an outer shell of you. You have a Thomas guide on your seat. See, we had no maps in the 80s. So if you wanted to get from here to there, you have to go, okay, page 46, AC, right, page 113, D4, and you'd have to find your route. I'm like, you're on the seam. I can't find your address. And you'd have 2. You'd have like an older copy with notes and a newer copy with like new streets. And oh, God.
No distracted driving then, right?
And kids have a different attitude about driving today. They don't get their license right away. We're obsessed with car culture in LA, so I needed my license the moment I turned 16. So I took the driving tests and all that stuff, or driving classes, and the actual physical driving, like you have to take, you know, 3 hours or whatever in the car with the instructor. Covered all that so that on my birthday, I could go right in the DMV and get my license.
What'd you take your driver's test in? What'd you take your driver's test in? What kind of car?
Oh, yeah, I took my driver's test on, it was pouring in California. Pouring. It was like 4 inches of rain in an hour. And so we pull out of the DMV, and I said, I just scored 100% on my written. So the driving instructor is really relaxed. And I'm like, I got this. So I did parallel park, no problem. We pull out of the DMV in Santa Monica, and I make a right. And we go a little bit, and immediately I get boxed in by somebody, and a garbage truck pulls right out in front of us. And I look, pause a little, slow down, let the guy go, signal, change lanes, get around the garbage truck, get back into the other lane. And the guy goes, go ahead and circle around. You have demonstrated proper control of a motor vehicle. Because I just saved his ass's life, and I did it smoothly. And he goes, you can drive. So I let the steering wheel slide between my fingers a little bit. And that was 2 points for loss of control of the damn steering wheel. And then when I signaled, he didn't hear it click. I didn't go click. I just pushed it up halfway so that it engaged the signal, but he didn't hear it click on the column. So I got another 2 points. So I scored a 96 on my driving, which qualifies you for a driving instructor in the state of California. So then immediately hopped into my mom's used 1979 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme Brougham with T-tops, diesel.
Oh, good.
Diesel.
Well, at least you couldn't speed.
It had underdrive.
Yes.
You knew a hill was coming. You had to plan your day. It just had so much steel in it. It was so reinforced. And I wasn't driving it. My dad was driving, and it got creamed. Basically, front end. The left part of the front end was moved over a foot, and the right part of the front end was moved over 6 inches. So it compressed the whole engine like 6 inches. Hit it so hard, spun us around 360, messed up my dad's neck. I was fine. I was like reading my lines. We were on our way to go shoot on the Waltons. And I'm like, what happened? We were like spinning around. The guy was doing 80 around a blind corner, and we pulled out and bam, got tagged.
Wow.
And we were fine. The insurance company, it would be cheaper to fix the car than to replace it. Oh. So they actually repaired this thing. 2 of the frames were bent, and they fixed the damn thing. And I got the car after it had already been totaled. And it drove beautifully. The only problem I had with it is I put unleaded in it.
Oh, that would do it. Yeah.
A lot. Like I filled the tank. And then I tried to top it off with diesel and I don't know. It made it 26 miles before. It made it 26 miles and I parked. I was at college at the time. So I finished my classes, came out and it wouldn't start. Nothing. And I'm like, hey, did you put unleaded in this? Yeah, that was good stuff. My mom was so cheap. She spent God knows what on this car. Ordered it like out of the I want T-tops and this and great car, automatic, electric every seat and everything like that. And saving what 20-30 cents a gallon, but for a while there I was getting cheaper gas.
Okay.
Well, that was the problem. It took diesel.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God, yes, it took diesel.
Oh man. So when you were on Chips, were you in the back of the squad car at any time, or was this how did that work? They certainly didn't put you on the back of the motorcycle. I know that.
Yeah, well, I rode a mini bike on it. That was a Caitlyn Jenner episode. One of the first season ones, I think I was just in a station wagon. The last season we did a series of episodes called Brat Patrol and the Return of the Brat Patrol. The last episode of Chips was the Return of Brat Patrol. They're trying to spin it off into little mini explorer, mini Chips kids dressed as Chips. And Chips was never seen or heard from again. It was canceled after however many seasons. I'm a show killer.
So you killed Chips. All righty then.
Oh.
And in that, we did sports. We did basketball in one episode, and we did track in the other. We had to wash the cruisers when we lost. Yeah, we had to be good losers and wash the LAPD's cruisers. So we had some LAPD cruisers as well as some CHP, the bikes, of course. 80s had a lot of vehicles. You had Riptide with the dang big pink helicopter, Dukes of Hazzard, and Knight Rider, and you could go on and on. Magnum, Airwolf, so many great shows with vehicles.
Were you on those shows, Airwolf or Magnum?
Yeah, I was on my way up to go up for Magnum PI. We're in the car on the PCH, and it's to ride a horse like a kid. And I rode horses. All of my girlfriends had horses. They were all horse girls in Malibu, lots of land. And I look down and I look at the cast on my arm from when I broke it skateboarding a week prior. And I'm like, I can't fly and I can't ride a horse and I can't lasso. And we had to pull over, call the agent, go, we forgot to tell you, he broke his arm last week and you can't, So we turned around and I didn't audition for Magnum PI.
Yeah. Now you can. You could do it again now that Magnum PI is back, although it'd probably be a different role. But, just saying, that's Hollywood gives you second chances.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Walton's had, of course, some classic vehicles. Studebakers and Fords and all sorts of cool stuff. Our other cars growing up, I learned on our Datsun 610 because my parents wanted me to learn. Wait, that might have been automatic. I think the 400 Datsun 400 or 410.
How about a 510? How about a 510?
510 maybe.
It was a 4. We had a 4 something. It was very boxy.
It was a 411.
Okay.
I
think I learned on that, and I stalled it on the PCH right at the signal with semis coming, and I was like, "That's a quick way to learn how to drive a clutch."
There you go.
My parents always would take me and throw me in the water, and they go, "He'll learn to swim." They're like, "He's got to learn."
And if he doesn't,
then I drove a motorcycle. I'm sorry, I rode a motorcycle.
Rode on purpose.
Yes, I rode a motorcycle from
what kind of bike?
88 to 97, and then again for another couple of years, and had a feeling one day, too many close calls, seen too many other wrecks with motorcyclists, and said, nah, just get rid of it. So
I'm good.
Got rid of it. And lucky, never had a problem.
Yep.
What were you riding?
When I was younger and had more larger gonads, I drove a Honda Shadow 800. And then recently I was riding a Rebel, cute little 250.
Very nice.
But I like that look. I like the chopper style rather than the other styles of bikes. I like the original Shadow. The new Shadows don't really look like that. And the Rebel's great. The Rebel looks like the kind of bike, you
either lean into the handlebars, you stand up, or you sit up straight, or you're leaning back on the handlebars.
Yeah.
So
it's all about second gear on Sunset Boulevard near Carney's and Comedy Store. You want one hand on your throttle, and that's it. And you're in second, and that's it. You live there. Who needs to go faster than 35 miles an hour in LA anyway?
Yeah. Now I want a chili dog.
Yeah, I need to lean back. I need to lean back. Maybe not even touch the handlebars. I like to lean back, legs up, and forward. And no leaning forward. Unless you're doing 110, then lean forward.
But not on Sunset. No, that wouldn't work out.
No.
What is in your garage right now?
Oh, so exotic. 2 cars, Honda CRV, the workhorse, it does everything. It's my wife's pink Mini Cooper convertible with Hello Kitty stickers, and it is the most adorable car you've ever seen in your life. It's the exact same car from like Dirty Grandpa with the one with Zach. What the hell's his name? Robert De Niro, and they have the pink convertible that they drive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's basically that car. It is so cute. It's the same model of the car that they use. That gets the 03. Ah,
okay.
Or 13 or 03. My wife's not paying attention to me.
Yeah, you're talking about her car. You got to bring her in. So you've got a pink car in your garage. Curious, of all the cars that you've had, what was the car someday you would like to get back if you ever had a chance to get an old car back?
The Beast. My black 8-foot long bed, straight 6, 2-wheel drive, Ford F-150.
Oh.
That thing, that was a monster, man. Straight 6, so it got, I want to say it hit 26 miles to the gallon. It had 2 19-gallon tanks, so you could fill up 38 gallons of gas in this thing. And then the long bed, I threw a camper shell on it, and speakers in the back, and this thing went to Tijuana and camping and whatnot. And I drove it in traffic, and my mom taught me how to gutter ball. So I would drive this thing like a 911 Porsche on the freeways around the streets, and people hated me. Now, I was 19 driving this huge truck, weaving in and out like a sports car. One of the times I got pulled over was cutting off a Corvette on the 10, and the cop goes, "Did you even see the Corvette?" I said, "No, I didn't see the Corvette." I don't drive fast. I drive quick. There's no law about how, as long as you don't lose traction, there's no law about how quickly you get up to speed. And lane changing, as long as you're looking and signaling all that stuff and giving kind of distance, that's pretty subjective. So you just got to catch me.
I see.
Now I do like to put miles on cars, hundreds of thousands of miles. It is not uncommon. I had a Nissan Sentra. I took 300,000 miles. The Ford, 180,000. We have an Echo that's got, I think, 200,000 on it. We have a great Echo too.
You get your money's worth out of these things, don't you?
Oh yeah, just change the oil religiously. Don't go, well, you don't drive that, but you can change it, every other or whatever. No, just freaking do it. Do it every 3,000 miles, no questions asked. You change that oil. If the guy recommends something, do it. I don't care. Well, I don't care. Just have them do it. Fix the damn car.
So did you buy the truck new? And if so, why did you have it fit with all those gas tanks?
Oh, I did buy it new off the lot. And it had 2 tanks. It had an A tank and a B tank. And it was a switch, a toggle switch. And you could freak out a date by driving it along, and all of a sudden, boom, you run out of gas. Oh no, but hold on. Click. It gets going again.
The old run out of gas at the Malibu Beach thing. Yeah.
Now, not remembering whether you have gas in the other tank when you run out, that's.
Although there is a
rough.
downside to that. I once thought that I would do that with my old 64 Dodge, like the one I had in high school. And so I took a date to Zuma, and I drove into actually free Zuma, because at night that you can't get into the other one. So I drove in and I said, oh, well, we'll just pull over here. And I rode a little bit off to the sand. And all of a sudden the car came in and went boom, boom. And I went, this doesn't sound good. And I tried to get out. And the more that I tried to get out, of course, the more that the sand went all over the place. And nothing changes the date's direction like having the AAA come by. So yeah, you got to watch that. Of course, Bob, you've never had that problem, I'm sure.
Oh no, never at all. Not at once, twice, three times. I don't remember how many times. I had some off-road excursions in housing tracks, kind of like, the Fast and Furious type mess ups.
Really now?
Yeah.
So you would race around housing
Oh,
developments?
Yeah, there was nobody else there on the weekends. They didn't work on the weekends.
Oh, I see. Places where they were building houses.
Right, off Mulholland Drive, when they were building up all that area. That was a fun place. Hills and I only crushed the oil pan and ripped off a tire once or twice.
Yeah. Keith, when old guys like us, you see, there weren't a lot of places built up back in our day. In fact, I remember taking that same Dodge across Mulholland Drive. So you'd go up by Balboa and where the 405 takes off, and I'd say, I hear this drives all the way to Valley Circle, which is all the way west San Fernando Valley. So I decided one day to see how far it goes, and can you take a car on one of those roads? And you can, and you're basically a milkshake by the time you're done, because so many ruts and so many this, and it was just basically a dirt road. And let's just say it was an experience that you only want to do once.
Well,
it's my favorite drive.
The Hollywood Freeway hadn't been built past the Ventura Freeway when I was in high school, and we'd go up there on the weekends and we'd have a great time, except the problem was that it rained. There would be pockets of puddles that were 2 and 3 feet deep.
Lovely.
Well, yeah, we were with a Volkswagen. We were able to pick it up and get it out of the holes. But man, we covered in mud.
Keith, you were going to say?
Mulholland is beautiful now. It is my favorite road in LA for driving. I will go out of my way to take Mulholland. Everybody else is either afraid of it or don't, or traffic. Trust me, Mulholland. Mm-hmm. I had to make a commute from Burbank to Culver City, and really, there's no choice. Just get up there on Mulholland, have fun. It banks and turns, and you get a view over the Hollywood, then a view over the valley, then you can see both, and it's just, I don't know. I loved riding my motorcycle on it, but even driving on it, even if there's traffic, it's you're sitting above LA like that. Yeah, I definitely love Mulholland.
Keith, how's the pandemic been for you guys? I mean, a lot of actors have had trouble. They've shut down productions, all that. How has that affected you?
Oh, we did get stir crazy early, March, April maybe, and did. Okay, so there's a secret former child actor society. We support each other and kind of talk, and well, we couldn't meet anymore because of pandemic, so we started meeting online. This is, of course, a prelude to promote our web series, the Quarantine Bunch, and you can tune in, and it's anti-comedy in a way. So if you're into things that kind of spiral out of the expected narrative, I think you'll love it. You got to hang in there. It pays off. It's very strange. It's very, very funny. And then I did a feature as well. And I had done Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and the documentary filmmaker on that, who did an incredible documentary, was released on Amazon Prime pretty recently, Dr. Josh Roush, he directed a feature, and boom, we got SAG and the thing. And, I took 3 COVID tests during it. And it was challenging. You have to run with a smaller crew and all of the layers and steps of COVID protection. You get an extra crew member in a COVID SAG, Screen Actors Guild specialist that's like there watching and, making sure everything's being followed. We were lucky it was Leonard Maltin's daughter. So there you go. Who I love Leonard.
Good.
So the masks were off. We're like, oh, no, I'm kidding. It was very good. I can't imagine how a crew of 80 people or 100 people are managing with this and handing off lights and props and getting close. And it's tough. And I understand the call. We are kind of on the Christmas hiatus break, but to push back the start of production a week or two, let things calm down in LA. I've seen grips lose chunks of their hand and have to go to emergency. I've seen stunts go wrong. You have to go to emergency. Little things. And when you use a vehicle, oh my God, the things that can go wrong. It's just not worth the chance that, forget about COVID. Screen Actors Guild has the most production, daily testing, temperature checks, layers, a zone 3, a zone 2, and then finally down on the set near the performers. It's like a closed set, as if they're filming a sex scene now. Only people that have to be on that set at the time. And so it's the most like watched effort and careful, I think, industry that you could find. So, but I understand them taking a pause. Doesn't mean there's not production going on in other states and other areas and other counties that might, have a little lesser of a problem right now. It's terrible. It's devastating. So in Hollywood, we were wondering early on, because during the summer, you're not expecting new TV, and kind of the summer films have been canceled or pushed. So nothing really is news happening. And you go, when they come back, are they going to address it? Are they going to have characters wearing masks? Are they going to, some shows do, some shows don't. Some shows, it's a relief to just tune in and they're in a bar, they're in a club, they're in a restaurant, and it's, takes place before, or they, say it doesn't happen. So, that, of course, for and auditioning, still auditioning, it's now done here at home on, the web. You audition now virtually, so there's no more casting offices, which is nice because the pressure to go in and there's the casting director and maybe the director and producer and an assistant, and they're filming you, and they're kind of like, go entertain us, let's see if you get this movie. So it's nice to kind of record at home and try to work on it a bit and do your best work, and then you hand them, here's my 5th take basically. And autograph conventions, of course, have been canceled and pushed. A few have tried. They found some safe ways to move forward. So we're going to move forward. We'd pushed one last year. and
that's one of the things one of the reasons we got a hold of Keith was due to David and everybody over at the Hollywood show, who was been a partner with us as far as getting some really cool celebrities to join us and be on the show and talk about their car stories. And we look forward to Keith and a lot of other people being involved with that show whenever they can put it back together again.
It's coming. Yeah, I think they're moving forward. It's just feeling it out here in LA and what they can do and how they can move forward with that. So I know some shows are doing it outside. I know that selfies are tough to do and all that stuff, but there's still fans still want to come and celebrate their favorite media and meet the creators behind it. So it'll be different, and eventually as things return, it'll kind of go back to, someone goes, oh, it's so crazy with conventions. And they went, when has a convention ever been normal? Fan conventions are fun. They're a riot. You always see crazy cosplay and people are kind of regressed to their childhood in a way. And maybe they get a little liquored up at night. Conventions are, they're a blast. If you've never been to a fan convention of any sort, you absolutely have to give it a shot. So there's some coming up this year.
What show did you watch a lot? I mean, obviously you were in Hollywood and started acting really at a young age, but the show you used to watch at home a bunch growing up, what was it that you
Oh,
remember,
wow.
your favorite?
Well, that's interesting. I had a little 9-inch black and white and would watch Andy Griffith and Gilligan's Island. And, there's a certain time of day they would move into other programming. Happy Days, of course, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy. And I got to be on 2 out of 3 of those shows. And we did Love Boat and Fantasy Island, and I was on those shows as well. So it was great to be on. We didn't really watch the Waltons. I want to confess, we we're Malibu
Breaking
Hollywood
news.
folks. We're not watching the Waltons. So they're like, you want to do the 8th season of the Waltons? We're like, hey, that could be good for the resume. And they were the most wonderful, loving, actual people with hearts that, unlike Hollywood, you could ever possibly imagine. Yet doing this brutal weekly schedule to pump out 26 episodes a year of an hour-long TV drama, period drama, costumes and cars, the houses all shot. I could throw a rock and hit Burbank Studios from here. That mountain that looms behind Warner Brothers, that's Walton's Mountain on opening credits. I think you could even see an antenna from Mount Wilson. And we loved Disney Sunday Movie. I know Saturday Night Live. I was allowed to watch that. My parents were subversives, hippies, counterculture, anti-establishment, anti-authority. And so Saturday Night Live was kind of a must-watch. I could watch up until Mr. Bill, and then I had to go to bed. Generally, my bedtime was 10 o'clock, but I could stay up to watch Towering Inferno if it was on or something like that. And then there was Grandpa was on TV too. So, they would have in LA for a while, they were running a Addams Family Marathon at Thanksgiving. And after my grandfather passed in 1984, we're missing him. And I remember about 88, 89, they were running the marathon, and we would just put the TV on in the other room and leave it playing. And then we could hear Grandpa's voice coming out of the other room every once in a while, so that he could kind of be with us. It's a luxury our family has. I have footage of my great-grandfather, Jack Coogan Sr., in Fatty Arbuckle and, who's the other guy? Fatty Arbuckle. Buster Keaton shorts.
Oh, yeah.
There's 2 that are on YouTube right now, and there's another one he did, I think, is Lost. So he had done film work before. My grandfather, my grandfather was still just on stage at this point on vaudeville. The very skewed look at the world and entertainment. It is a career. It is a career has, there's a certain way to do it. And, there's a certain prerequisites and paying your dues and delivering good work. And if you don't like it, get out. If you don't love it or you don't enjoy it, go ahead and get out of LA and, move on. It's an elective. Nobody's asking you to do this. I bitch and moan and whine and I got to audition. And my wife's like, you got to audition? You mean you get to audition for something? And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. If you can back off of all that in the business part of it and just get to the pure thing and make yourself laugh. Maybe I like comedy, even if it's a drama scene, I'll try to make it funny somehow. So it is continued. It's the same. It's not the same. I know so many things are different for the big stars, where all of their big films have been canceled one after the other, push this, now different structure because there's not theatrical release. It's going to go straight to streaming, and there's different, kind of rates that go with that. And they have to work all that kind of stuff out, but it's changed. And I just love still doing it. So, and still having the SAG card and the agent and going up for stuff and working occasionally enough to, I like to do 2 jobs a year. And so far it's been worked out.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Well, very good. So another car question.
Yeah.
top 3 cars on the Keith Coogan, I want that car someday list.
Oh my God. Well, you got Mustang anywhere between 64 and 85. You got a Porsche 911 SC Targa, circa 88. And you've got that old Ford F-150 long bed, 8-foot long bed, black with a camper shell. Yeah.
You want that original one back?
Now the transmission was pretty shot.
Oh, okay.
I sold it to a guy at a Chevron. I couldn't believe it. Like, it's got this many miles. The thing's kind of slips here, and you might need to, throw like 800 into the tranny. And he's like, here, got cash, gave him the car. Missed it. The moment I sold the car, I missed the damn thing.
Wow.
Oh, another fantasy vehicle. God, I've picked kind of some sport cars, haven't I? I did a movie in Africa for Disney, The Cheetah, rated G, kids with cheetahs and stuff like that. And that's when I was introduced to the Range Rover. And I would love a safari kitted Range, because you know how in LA people can run around with the Suzuki Samurais with nothing, no cloth top, just open, and they leave it parked with open. I want to do that with a Range Rover, kitted out like safari style, like they had in Kenya. That would put to shame the, SUVs and the H2s people are driving around.
Well, that's an interesting one. Doctari all over again. By the way, that's an old show that was done in Africa back in the 70s or so. So yeah, wow. All righty. Well, I like that idea though. That would be kind of an in car, don't you think, Bob?
You could kit it up to a zombie vehicle. Easy.
Yeah. Hey, Rover's been making owners into mechanics for 50 plus years.
Absolutely. Pretty crazy. Well, Keith, we appreciate the time, and so you have some great car stories, and of course, some great stories as well about your family who is steeped in acting. And certainly, I find it interesting, especially from behind the scenes stuff. And we appreciate you coming in. Thanks for joining us. Hey, everybody, don't forget to listen, like, and share. Most important, subscribe to our audio podcast and the video production podcast of our Two Tired Guys productions on YouTube. When you subscribe, you get notified when a new show comes up, and it helps all of us. Remember, when you subscribe, it helps us. When you subscribe, it helps you, because you'll find out when all our new shows are coming up. Follow us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, I'm Randy. That's Bob. That's Keith. Having fun, talking about cars. See you next time, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.